Disney at the time, and I haven't checked their financials recently, I probably should, but they were spending more money on making the movies than they were actually earning. And they were barely earning anything from the theme parks as well because of COVID. So at this time, Disney is in a poor financial area. Bob Iger was on the board of directors and they were moving him to CEO. So he wasn't CEO yet. So that was a big change that was going to happen. And so they had completely different leadership, and there was a lot going on within the organization that really mixes tables. Welcome, friends.
Hi, friends.
Today's a little bit of a special episode.
And one that we sadly can't have Megan here for, no matter how much she really tried. By the time we're recording this, the baby's still not here yet. But again,
by the time the episode releases, though, baby will be born.
And she'll be on her maternity leave. But she was wanting to make a comeback for this episode, but couldn't. But we have messages from her regarding this episode.
Yes. I feel too weird in a dress. I'm sorry.
That's fair. Do you want to talk this, start off what this episode's about? Because it's a special episode.
As you all know, we are the Friends of Disney podcast.
And we kind of started the podcast right out of the floodgates with our first episode, Snow White.
But we wanted to give you a little special tidbit of who we are as the Friends of Disney.
And more background as to why this episode came to be. We did allude to an episode like this last episode, but since we've really gotten ourselves really up and going, we've made a lot of improvements since our first episode, and we really are in a really good spot now. We felt like it was time to share the story of what brought around this podcast, why we call ourselves Friends of Disney. Yeah.
So it all starts with the day we were in college.
Which route are you going to step?
Car drives and McChickens.
Okay, so back when, me, Megan, and Jonelle all went to the same university. Megan was there before us because she's a year older than both of us.
Me and Sean were the same graduating year.
Yeah, and me and Jonelle first became friends because we were in the same dorm hall and everything, and
tradition.
Yes. And what really kickstarted our friendship was that we would go on late night drives
and eat McChickens.
Yeah, we will literally pull our cash of ones and go to McDonald's at 2 a.m. and be like, we like to order 13 McChickens because we had 12 ones or whatever. And McChickens were like $1 a piece.
Because their 1, 2, 3 menu was actually 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And so we would buy 13. I think our max was 16, 17 McChickens.
Yeah.
Within one drive-through run in the middle of the night.
We may or may have not eaten all these McChickens. Sometimes we were the supplier.
That is true. We were the supplier a couple times.
Yeah, because there was a few times people knew that we were up late at night and that we would go on drives and we would get McChickens.
Well, and then we wouldn't even come back to the dorm. We would sit in a Lowe's parking lot.
And just eat.
McChickens.
Yeah.
And talk about random stuff, her dating life, my life, whatever. It really is a bonding moment. It's
my roommate issues.
Friend group issues. Yeah, there's lots of we would bond a lot. It's like we were high, but we weren't.
I mean, I may have been high a few times.
You didn't really smoke that much at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't until the next following year that I did, but there was definitely a few times that I was drunk. There was one time, though, that we went on a McChicken run, and I was at a party beforehand, and then I was at the fish bowl, and at the party, I had a whole bunch of peanut butter cookies. I didn't realize they were edibles. And I legit thought, and the guys who offered me these cookies, lived in the same dorm as us. So I was like, oh my gosh, I know you. And they're like, you want a snack? And I'm like, yeah, I want a snack.
You were a dumb freshman.
I was a dumb freshman, yeah. And so they offered me peanut butter cookies. The next thing you know, I was high as a kite. And then I show up back up to the dorms and I am hungry.
And if you're wondering where Megan is in all of this, we were friends with Megan at the time when this started happening. But Megan was one person in a much larger friend group that we had at the time.
The friend group was originally formed before we had joined the university.
We became part of this friend group that Megan was in.
Because my roommate dated one of the guys in the friend group based off of my suggestion, which was a bad idea.
And one of the others saw me as a lonely freshman sitting by themselves in a Hufflepuff jacket. Yes, I'm a Hufflepuff.
I'm a Ravenclaw, if that really matters. Is that something a Ravenclaw would say?
Kind of sort of, I feel like. So Megan didn't really ever join in on these McChicken runs, but the reason it's important is because it's a common thing for me and Jonelle to just go on drives.
Yes.
Talk and do stuff. And if we fast forward, obviously, like, I'm married to Megan and stuff, so we saw what route that went.
We're best friends who can't hold hands.
The most we can
or hug.
The most we can do is high five and fist bump.
It's weird. Well, not the high fiving or fist bump.
Fast forward to basically, it was the day we saw Wish. When we saw Wish, which if you haven't checked out our Wish episode, check it out. Despite all of its controversy, Wish hit us in a very emotional.
I cried.
We were crying at Wish.
Are you saying this is the time that like it fully sealed our friendship, like my friendship with Megan and you two?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I thought it was when you two got married.
Wait, what do you mean by this? Like, yeah, you and Megan had a hard patch for a while.
Yeah, like, honestly, I don't remember where that hard patch came from.
I know where it did come from. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, probably.
But you guys like rekindled that friendship slowly, starting with like the wedding helped. Like, was a huge part of it. Okay, that's tripping me out. Hold on a second. Slightly darker room. The light that we have like right there.
It started doing a strobe thing.
It started to flicker a little.
So the battery's probably going
out. But no. So when we saw Wish, we were in a lot of feels. Because we saw it opening day. Like, we were not hesitant on that. Like, we were so psyched to see that movie. And Megan ended up needing to go home because she was just tired and had to work in the morning. I didn't. And so me and Jonelle were out, and we were on a high, basically, of how it made us feel, because Disney has a very special place in our hearts. And through Megan being friends with me, I introduced her to a lot of parts of Disney that she came to really grow her.
So you're also saying Megan didn't seal her relationship with me until she was pregnant?
No.
Wait, she was pregnant during Wish.
No, she wasn't. Wish came out in November.
Wait, did it? Oh my god. Hold up. Oh, you are right. Okay, well, shit. Almost pregnant, Megan.
No, so Wish has a very special. It caused us to be in a really nostalgic spot, because especially the credits scene, where it like shown like the different like star outline of the different characters.
Disney through the eras.
It was a really special movie for us. And
it's not Megan.
You got me worried there. And so me and Jonelle were talking, and do you remember what it was that got us on the topic of the podcast?
Yes, and this is why I brought up the driving and the McChickens.
Because we were out for a drive.
Yes. And it's because we get our best ideas talking when we have our drives. We have the most philosophical
Conversations.
when we're on drives. And you mentioned in the car, like, what if we just recorded this?
That's right.
Yes.
I talked about this with Megan.
Yes.
What if we just stuck a microphone in our car
And made a podcast.
and just drove and talked with whatever the F, and that was the podcast episode. And it really got us to thinking into making a podcast.
And now we're going to add in Megan's commentary that she is not here. So, Megan, right here, Megan.
Megan thought we were high
and joking
and completely joking on making a podcast about Disney stuff because we got down, us being nostalgic, we were like, we could talk about Disney movies.
Let's also talk about the fact I just finished my entrepreneurship class. So I was really feeling like we're going to start our own business, man. Let me tell you, we need to do a podcast.
Well, it was exactly so. We literally call up Megan. She's tired, trying to go to bed, and we're like, "Hey, honey, how would you feel about doing a podcast about Disney movies and TV shows?"
Yes, and the reason why is because so anything that's very critical when it comes to business is you need to have a reason why, something to get the person hooked into watching. This ties into many different themes of business, but they all tie in together. And that main theme is your mission statement. So I was like, all right, Sean, mission statement time. And who are we? And
well, and what part of it led to the conversation of how we got to where we are was there is
a lot of Disney creators.
And a lot of Disney creators, but also if we talking about Disney is an interesting topic because Disney has a ton ever since the pandemic really, Disney has come under a lot of criticism for their movies.
I still hate the Kindergarten the musical right now. Did you see that?
I didn't want to look at it. Frame, and I was like, no.
Okay, so now literally all my social media is nonstop Kindergarten the musical songs, and I'm just.
But no, so Disney's controversy, it made us upset talking about that kind of bringing up how there's controversy when we watched a movie that
we just loved.
It made us so unfathomably happy.
There we go.
Like we could not fathom how happy we were from that movie. And seeing the critiques, but already ahead of the movie being released on the trailers and the music, people were hating. And
people really hated this movie too.
And I didn't want to say it hurt us, but it made us upset because you have a lot of knowledge of the entertainment industry, being as you were in the band. You have knowledge of music and stuff.
Well, and then
creative side.
Also, I used to be a manager out at a casino, and casino is pure entertainment. That is the whole business of a casino and gambling. So I had background knowledge of the operations of an entertainment business.
And I have a lot of knowledge about a lot more of like the literal creative side of it, of like movie making, sound design, music. Literally, I'm the one who edits the podcast, our podcast episodes.
Sorry.
And make sure our sounds on the soundboard are correct and everything.
Okay, sorry. I'm just losing my mind here for a second. Don't mind, people. I'm also wearing a dress, so this is very outside of usual me. Sean definitely knows me as more of a tomboy. So seeing me in a dress is very weird. But there is a reason.
Yeah. But so when we saw that hate and us having the knowledge that we have, we really wanted to create a space where we could talk about Disney movies, like, in a really we try to be rational as much as we can. Like, we can admit in some episodes we may get a little carried away with how much we enjoy the movie.
Oh yeah.
But like we're not afraid to critique things. Like we have our live action versus animation episodes where we're literally critiquing movies and putting them against each other.
Well, and then there's also Rise of Red, which
We
hated.
We hated
Yeah.
Red.
And
We really wanted to facilitate that space of there are good things about movies that deserve to be credited, and
where credit is due.
where credit is due, because there's a lot of hard work that go into Disney movies in general, and Disney has always been the one to push the bar.
And since COVID, Disney, like, not only another thing that was like kind of into this conversation in the car was not only was I in an entrepreneurship class at the time, so I was already planning our whole little organization in the car. But my class prior to that, I had done an economic research on the Disney company for my assignment as my final. And I did a whole 10 to 15 page analysis on Disney, and I looked at their books, and I got to look at their board of directors and see what type of management decisions they have been making over the past 5 years. And I had to come up with to my class and my professor, obviously. Trying to get someone to talk to Disney is a little bit impossible, except maybe not now that I work at my job. But um, yeah, so I really also Disney is a publicly traded company. You can view their financials online because they are public. So this information is not hidden. It's open. So I used this and I did my research with my background in accounting and business management. And I wrote out some things, that Disney can improve on. And so this is kind of where my hard criticisms that I thought would bring in some good detail for this podcast, because one of their biggest strikes was their movies. Disney at the time, and I haven't checked their financials recently, I probably should, but they were spending more money on making the movies than they were actually earning. And they were barely earning anything from the theme parks as well because of COVID.
Mhm.
So at this time, Disney is in a poor financial area. Bob Iger was on the board of directors and they were moving him to CEO. So he wasn't CEO yet. So that was a big change that was going to happen. And so they had completely different leadership, and there was a lot going on within the organization that really mixes
Well,
tables.
and it gets difficult because like we're avid Disney fans, and so we keep up on a lot of updates about the movies, like about the company, theme parks, movies, the whole dealio. And so, like, especially with COVID, like Bob Iger left during COVID. You had Chapek. Chapek got outed, got booted, and Iger came back. And all that shuffling, there's been a lot of different people at the steering wheel driving this company. And
There's
ever
been
s-
good decisions, there's been some real bad decisions.
and the country as a whole is in a very
Tough financial.
the country as a whole is in a very tough state sociopolitically right now.
Yeah.
Disney has been in the crossfire a lot by it. Like there was feuds between Disney and the governor of Florida,
Mm.
issues between Disney and stuff they include in their movies, some of their decisions in the theme parks about retheming.
Future Disney idea, maybe not, but like the whole quotation of woke Disney.
But, like, so we see all of this controversy, and it's I see news articles, like a common news article you'll see on like Facebook and Instagram is Inside the Magic. They are really clickbaity. They are they post single opinion editorials, and sometimes it is factual based, like if there's big announcements from like D23 or something, it's like, yeah, that's going to be obvious what that it's legit and everything, but they post these opinion articles that are such one-offs. It's just a lot of bad publicity, and it almost became like a bandwagon to hate on Disney. And not that Disney doesn't deserve criticism, like everyone deserves criticism, but we wanted to create a platform where we can raise fair criticisms using the knowledge that we have on both the business and entertainment side.
And I mean, of course, we're gonna have our own biases, but
Of course. Hell, you've probably seen it a couple of times because you'll notice a little butting heads between me and Jonelle from now and again.
yeah. And then the other part was creating the name of the podcast.
Oh my gosh, that was a long, tedious process.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was horrible. Because we went through all names.
Because we did all of this in a single drive.
Yeah, like we first thought of like the Three Musketeers type of thing. So we're just like,
well, we were like, I'm thinking about like pulling from like other podcasts that I know of. Like there's one very popular Disney podcast that's the happiest podcast on earth.
yeah.
And it's like,
we were also trying to pick something because we are not affiliated with Disney. We are simply friends of Disney.
We really wanted to create a very inclusive atmosphere where that describes us, me, Megan, and Jonelle.
Also something that was going to save our ass legally.
Something that, yeah. But also something that gave us like what the podcast is about, and we always say, like, you'll hear us on a lot of episodes, hello friends of Disney. It's because
you are our friends.
We think of like anyone who watches as a friend of Disney. Like we are friends, you are friends. Like
you're joining in on the conversation, which we want to hear more from you.
We really do. And like that's such a thing, like we really wanted to elevate the voice. Let's not just hate. Let's not just love. Let's talk about it. Why is it bad? Why is it good? Because it's not the fault of the people working at Disney. They're making a movie. They're doing their jobs. They're doing the best of their ability to provide something that all of us are gonna like and enjoy in that storytelling.
I will say though, like right now, I mean, we talked about this in our last episode, but we're not seeing as much. Well, I think more specifically in the Narnia episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like right now, Disney isn't creating like more of these more big like stories that are brand new, something you haven't heard before. And
they're not innovating.
Yeah, they're not innovating. But I think this is and of course, this is why we thought we'd be a good fit as a podcast, is because we each have something so different and unique to say. So me, I obviously have my business background from my education standpoint, and now starting to finally build up that career background of it as well. But I feel like what Disney's doing right now is a very strategic business plan because they're sticking to their roots of what has worked and making it work. But me and Megan, on the other hand, me and Megan's friendship in the friend group, often me and her would like sit at lunch together and talk about
heaven and hell.
Yeah.
And the afterlife.
And we still talk about that when we're done recording.
Well, and some background on Megan, because so we can be honest, it's a little on the nose obvious in our episodes. Me and Jonelle are a lot more of the driving force behind our podcast. Megan is a crucial part of it though, because
she was a theology major, by the way. And if you don't know what theology means, it means this.
She was a Christian theology major specifically. Yes. And she essentially has her bachelor's in theology, just minus 2 classes, but that she hated that major more than anything.
And theology is the study of Christ, essentially.
Christian theology is, because you can have other kinds of theology.
Yeah.
And like,
but it's the study of a religion.
She studied like the Christian Bible and stuff for 4 years, and she's very knowledgeable in that aspect.
But she has these deep, thoughtful, insightful questions that we may not ask.
No, you've seen us struggle not to have Megan on podcast episodes.
I mean, I don't struggle. I like the questions.
No, without Megan.
Oh, yeah.
Episodes
yeah,
without Megan, we struggle because Megan provides this questioning mind. Megan embraces this questioning mindset that really makes us think. And she brings up a lot of ideas because she's a toddler teacher. She works in a daycare, so she's lives with kids.
Yeah.
People often think Disney directs their stuff towards. Not 100%, by the way.
Yeah, I think their demographic right now might be hello.
Us.
Us.
But, she adds that other insight that adds a lot of depth to our conversations. And even though like I handle a lot of the creative aspects of like making the editing together the episodes, you push a lot more on the business aspects about like things like our giveaway that we did with that was paired with 14 other accounts and stuff.
Though granted, you follow a lot more Disney accounts, so you found an opportunity and you took it, which that is great. Also, by the way, I would like, because we have more items to give away. So please get to 200 subscribers and then I will really consider you for another giveaway.
Yeah, because we want to do another giveaway and we partnered on this because the opportunity approached itself for this last giveaway that we were a part of. But we really want to do one strictly to you guys ourselves.
Yeah.
So please make sure you are subscribed.
We need metrics to be able to give you something. And unfortunately, that's how these things work. I mean, I like to be very kind of blunt and upfront about how businesses work. And we need metrics. And right now we're a nonprofit. I mean, we don't make any money doing this is a hobby right now, okay? If you happen to turn us into a side job, we won't be sad.
But like, this was something we always it was always like something super fun. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. Like it gave us a reason to actually hang out.
Yeah, because you left Whitworth.
Yeah, I dropped out of school because I was done with it.
And Megan was done with school. And I'm still at Whitworth. So I didn't really have any friends because Taylor graduated, you left, Megan left. So I was kind of on my own. And then you and Megan moved out. So like we weren't even close by anymore. Like we rarely hung out once they moved.
Yeah. And like we would like invite you, like, hey, we're gonna go see a movie. We know you're a Disney fan. Let's go watch stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
But we needed a reason to hang out because us living in the dorms was like every day, like, okay, fishbowl.
Yep. Prime time, then fishbowl.
Yeah. And I mean, people got, sorry, I had a burp so bad. That is so gross. I'm so sorry. But people got upset with us in the fishbowl all the time because of how much we hung out in there.
Well, and it's like one of like again like one of the ways like we really discovered us being like really fun Disney fans was I would take my projector into the fishbowl, which was a movie room. But we would hook up my project into a wall, and like our favorite movie to watch was The Little Mermaid. Or we would watch something else, like we would watch Steamboat Willie that I had on VHS off of her projector, which is always fun. And everything. And we would do that again at like 2 a.m. with our McChickens or Taco Bell.
Yeah. Thanks to the guy I dated for a short time who gave us Taco Bell.
But and like it's really funny because Megan thought this was a joke, and every time this podcast elevates to new levels, it like shakes her a little bit. Like at one point, we were really sitting down and like, okay, how do we grow this podcast? And like we created like a whole schedule and everything. And Megan was like, "Oh my god, we're actually trying to do this."
Yeah, and
She thought this podcast was a not like we were joking, and like no, like we ended up setting a date that January 1st was our very first filming date, and that's when we filmed Snow White.
yeah. And I mean, I gotta admit, I still think there's a lot more room for growth for us, but and I mean, like, I know I haven't been giving it my 100% for the podcast, and I want to, but um we're three very busy people already.
I'm gonna say like I have
Mother trucker.
what? Sorry, there was a bunch of like random water sounds and we don't really know where it came from.
Yeah, and do
Anyways,
you see more water coming out anywhere?
not that I can see.
Anyways,
Anyway, but, we talk about this podcast becoming a business, and we don't mean that out of any place of greed whatsoever.
and I mean,
Like,
we may not even expect this to become a business, but here's the thing is it's easier to be prepared for when it does, if it ever does, than
And-
not be prepared at all.
but the whole reason why like we bring it like, oh, what if it becomes a business is because like it's clear we are Disney adults. Like we call ourselves friends of Disney. We love Disney. But it's literally like we're creating something based off of us just watching Disney movies.
Yeah.
Like that's cool. That's fun. It's exciting. Like I love editing these episodes together. It was this no.
Oh,
This like I often find myself questioning if I
give
regret
you a bro fist.
if I find myself often like questioning if I regret dropping my music major. And hell, I'm now working in healthcare, which I love my job, don't get me wrong, but I also always find myself debating if I should go back because I dedicated 10 years of my life into being in concert bands and stuff and everything. But like doing this, I'm pulling every piece of knowledge that I have. Like I've learned how to edit these episodes on my own. Um, Possibly by the time this episode releases, or even afterwards, are gonna have a whole brand new intro that I would have made from scratch versus a stock footage.
One thing I find kind of funny though, in case you guys do or don't pay attention to the podcast, but I work for a company called Zach Designs. I am not sponsored by them. I just am one of their employees, and it is in their policy handbook. We are allowed to be social media influencers if we would like. Sorry, I'm disclosing this information if HR ever sees this. But and part of that is to talk about the company goodly. But which is funny. But the mission statement of Zach is everyday smiles. And so that is my company that I work for. They manufacture children's plates, cups, water bottles, and for adults. And they put Disney characters, yes, Disney characters on these products. We also have Nickelodeon and other licensings. And the whole purpose of that is like when you sit at your meal and you look at a plate that has your favorite character on it, you can't help but smile. And that's kind of the mission of Zach. And it's just kind of funny that I work there because I was actually hired by them through a temp agency. And through the temp, they decided to hire me full time. And my boss, I slowly started migrating all of my Disney stuff into the office. Um, And now my desk space is completely covered with Disney Legos and pictures of me at Disney World and my Disney pins and pictures of my pets and a whole bunch of other licensing stuff. But my boss has talked to me about this multiple times, and she's just like, this is really the best company for you, because she's like, you're a Disney adult. So she's like, you must love working here. And I mean, yes, I do like working there. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of benefits that come with working there. Also, I'm gaining a lot of great experience. Because I was formerly a cook before that, and I really doubted myself in my business skills if I would ever be successful from just outside being a cook. And I mean, I still have aspirations of owning my own restaurant and things like that, but um this company has just kind of helped bring me up to a different level of, I have earned my degree and I can use my degree and apply my degree. But this job is beneficial to the podcast because we are able to give away stuff to you guys from my job. I'm not allowed to sell it. So we are giving it away to you. Also,
Spawn.
yeah, not sponsored. I did pay for these things from the company myself to give to you guys. But it's so cool because when I walk around the office, we have like Disney posters, and there's things that Disney has give us at the company, and like I can't help but like I do smile.
Well, and like it's fun because like Megan works with toddlers and stuff, and so she gets to sit there singing like Disney songs. She'll wear like her Mickey shirt, and they'll be like Mickey, or her like today she wore like a Peach Dragon shirt to work, and they were like Dragon, or like a lot of her classroom is full of boys, and they love it when she wears Lightning McQueen and stuff. Or like I work at the hospital, and hospitals are the most depressing place you'll ever be unless you're giving birth. There's no other good reason to go to a hospital unless you're giving birth. And so
Yeah.
be like I don't wear Disney stuff to work just because of professionalism, things with the company and whatnot. But I like being able to make people smile. They're in a really vulnerable place, and I genuinely have used my love of Disney and like songs and stuff to like make kids that are visiting their family members laugh, and seeing family people like, thank you so much for like making them laugh and stuff while they're like in like a really like vulnerable place.
Just Disney has touched a part of our lives that like we can't remove,
Really can't. And they always
And maybe this is branding at its finest.
It could be, but you look at the lengths they go. If you really look at it and you do the research behind it, like we live very close to Silverwood.
Mm-hmm.
Silverwood is another theme park like Disneyland.
More like Six Flags, but
They license themselves as a theme park. A theme park. They have different areas that are like they have a western area.
I guess that is true.
They even had mascot costumes for characters like Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
Disney could look like Silverwood, but Disney doesn't. Disney sets the standard because they care. When Walt Disney was first making Disneyland, Lillian Disney, his wife, would question him, like, why do you want to make one of those places? They're always so dirty, so disgusting. And Walt was like, mine's not gonna be that way. And no, and so seeing that like that's like their forefront, they care. Like that was Walt thing. He just cared. He wanted a space where families could go while he was at a merry-go-round with his kids.
I will say one, because also before the podcast, I went to Disney World for finishing college. So my grandfather, he's a forensic dentist, but anyways, he had to work out in Florida. So it's kind of this conversation with, "Hey grandma, can I hop on the plane and we go to Disney World? And I just finished school. Can it be a celebration?" So yes, it did become a celebration at Disney World. But how much detail they put into the parks was simply amazing. Like
Mhm.
I went on the Flight of Passage. Gosh, I love that ride. They immersed me from the moment you're standing in line all the way to the physical ride, you're still immersed in the movie. So you're not even going to be bored, even though I stood in line for 2 hours to get to the ride. I was still never bored because I was walking through the entire world of one of my favorite movies. And I got to see the detail of the Himalayan mountains. I got to see the glowing plants. I got to see banshees. I got to see inside the laboratory and all of those like minor details that I wish I could have immersed myself when I was watching the movie. And then I got to the physical ride and they took it to the next level and physically made me an avatar. And when you're on the ride too, um it's like a motorcycle type of thing that locks you in place, but the mechanics they put on this ride made it feel they moved the chair like against your leg to the breath of the banshee breathing, just like how you would see in the movie, like when you connect with your banshee through your little tail thing, you see it physically breathing. And you got to experience the animal breathing and like being connected as if you were a real avatar. And it was a 4D ride, so it was pretty cool. But Disney makes their rides and their parks so immersive to where you are in the movie. You,
Forget
yeah,
that you are actually like in the real world almost. Like you are separate from the real world.
yeah. And that's the big difference between, like any other theme park in Disney is they are putting you truly in the movie.
Mhm.
You are your own character in that movie.
And it's a magical experience. Like my one of my favorite rides that I rode, me and Megan were in Disneyland last year, was Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And the queue at Disneyland is very different than the queue at Disney World, because Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway in Disneyland is in the El Capitan Theater in Toontown, because Disneyland actually has Toontown. And when
Mhm.
you go in, it's actually a complete timeline of Mickey and like all the different artifacts, like Beanstalk, the Magic Hat, the Disco Mickey, vinyl, the Mouseketeer
Mm,
from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, like all these like artifacts from like Mickey's career all the way up to Mickey's newest iteration and stuff. And seeing that timeline and the immersion of like an old timey theater, like it was complete like 50s theater style.
yeah.
It was so cool. And like the fact that like the view, like the what's it called? The pre-show, like you're watching this Mickey Mouse cartoon, and next thing you know, you pass your wall, end up going into the screen and you're in the Toon World.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun. But like,
They they really put entertainment to the next level to where you are immersed in your own entertainment through your own imagination.
and Disney does come under a lot of fire that sometimes is warranted, like like again, our Rise of Red episode.
That one sucked.
Yeah, but Disney, the things Disney has done still deserves to be talked about. Everyone has a misstep. everyone makes mistakes. Even the film industry.
Everyone has those days.
Oh my gosh, no. But Disney is no exception to that rule. Like people get really upset when a movie doesn't do so well, and I'm like, it's not the first time.
Yeah, no, there's always going to be another one. And yeah, a lot of people get upset right now with the whole Marvel thing.
Yeah, people are. I mean, and like, there's things to be said about like whether or not a franchise gets milked or not. I mean, like people look at Frozen and Moana, think they're just milking it for Frozen 3, really. And
Well, I mean, right now, yeah, it's their cash cow.
okay, but they've done the same thing for Lion King.
It's a cash cow.
Yeah.
Their cash cow items is what's giving them money right now.
Mm.
So it's a business decision. Sorry.
But that doesn't mean that the creators are going to work any less hard, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we really want to bring light to, you know?
It just means there's not as much innovation,
Mhm.
but they're working with what they got.
Yeah. And then, like, yes, this podcast is really it's a really fun space that we get to create. Like, we go, like, literally, I got off of work, no joke, 2.5 hours ago.
I left my mom's wedding well, sorta.
But like
I left as soon as I could to come here.
But like we go and we have our lives, we come back, we see this, and it's like a completely different attitude all of a sudden.
Now I remember where I was going from with my old conversation that I was talking about my work.
No.
Basically, we all have busy lives. No surprise. But like so I will have a full-time job. I'm going to school right now and I have this podcast. And in addition, I have a lot of doctor's appointments. I won't describe what they are because of HIPAA. So anyways. But you, me, and Megan, we all have lives like that. We're very busy people. And the thing that I just wanted to say was essentially like, I want to put in more effort, but I'm trying to alleviate some things off my plate.
Well, and like me and Megan are like extremely busy. I mean, we got the baby that by the time this releases will be here.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. And like I have a huge things brewing at work that could affect things on a much bigger scale.
You have a lot of good career options that are viable for you at work.
Well, not just options, but literally, like I have stuff working right now.
Yeah.
And it's
like Sean is you're a board member for your union, correct?
Not for our union. I'm a board member of the National Institute of CNA Excellence.
Yeah, so
which is a nonprofit geared towards elevating the education and practice of nursing assistants. And it's still a newer organization, but like I have a lot of opportunities available to me that are starting to pick up, families starting to pick up. Megan kind of is starting to get an idea of where she wants to go in terms of childcare. And this podcast, it's our baby. Like me, you, and Megan's baby. We come down here and it's like all of that stress almost goes away. Because we get to sit here and have fun, talk about our favorite movies, TV shows.
And in a few minutes sing some more ABBA.
Yeah. And like we just have fun, you know? Like the stress goes away when we're in this space. We create a really fun atmosphere for us where we get to talk about a company that does remarkable things and
something we all have in common interest.
Yeah, but but there's something to be said with how we feel about this podcast.
I was like,
I will it to begin with.
I was like, I will say that's like kind of one of the things that ties us together, because like outside, we all have very different friends outside of us.
Very different personalities.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure as you guys can tell, I'm obviously not married. I'm a single Pringle now.
Sorry, guy from Applebee's.
Sorry. He was there while I dumped him.
Anyways,
But like, I'm kind of the partier person.
it's really perfect. Sorry, our camera's almost dead. I need to plug it in.
Oh. But I'm the person who like goes to parties a lot, and I also have like other people that I meet, you know, outside of the podcast, and I hang out with them. And so like I'm also not extroverted, but I am, if that makes sense.
The same way.
Yeah. Because my other friends that I have, we are not the Disney saints.
But like me, you, and Megan honestly just have pure-hearted fun. Like me and you would play villainous like 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, I thought you were going to mention our child's gambling.
No. It's not what you think. It's us just going to a children's arcade to
But
play
think about it.
games.
Arcades are really just
Kids' form of gambling.
yeah, and this is why we call it child's gambling, because you are playing physical games to earn tickets.
To get prizes, and you could get any number of tickets from 1 to a jackpot of a couple thousand.
Yeah. And like if you keep hitting the jackpot on certain games, you're going to get more tickets to get the higher prize that you want at the booth, aka child's gambling, because a child is probably not going to care about physical money.
Yep. And they still get something out of it too.
Yeah.
But like me, you, and Megan honestly just have pure-hearted fun. Like we'll play, like me and you love playing villainous, and we get so into it. We'll act like the characters.
Haunted Mansion is also really fun.
Me, you, and Megan love to play Haunted Mansion and stuff. And there's other games that are based off of Disney rides and stuff. But like, we just like to have fun and just a kiddie kind of sense, you know, like that childlike fun of screw just being stupid. Screw just getting stupidly drunk and making bad decisions. We just want to just be happy.
Yeah.
That's something that we all just enjoy. Megan enjoys it. Megan enjoys this podcast and stuff. Like, and me, like I run the creative side. Janelle typically runs the business type side. And Megan just along for the fun.
The text I sent you this morning was so funny.
We were talking about like what to name this episode.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you. I was just like, Sean, I think we should probably name our episode this. And you're going to see because you're watching it. Anyways. And then Sean sends back, I was literally thinking the same thing.
It's true.
And so I'm just like, oh my God, yes, we're on the same page here, which is great. Like, you know, in a business aspect, you look at that, everyone's on the same page. That means your managers are on board with everything, right? So cool. You know, business me is like, oh my God, yes, woo, one for the team. But also like, ha, my best friend knows me. Yeah. But I first put in for, wow. Yeah, we don't finish each other's sandwiches. That's
no.
Nope, that's you and Megan.
Yep.
Not me.
More me than Megan, but yeah. I finish her sandwiches. She doesn't finish mine.
I mean, mid-pregnancy, maybe.
No, I don't leave leftovers.
Fair enough.
But no, like, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else we could really say to really sum it up. Like, this podcast is really...
It's a safe place.
It's a fun space. It's a safe and fun space to celebrate something we love and provide honest criticism. You know, like, we just talk about it. Like, we've gone on some crazy tangents of, like, our not-so-fun pasts, of not-so-fun childhoods.
Yeah.
Or even just, like, what the F, like, in Aruna's Magic, like, we're watching a show for the very first time. It's an international show, and we're just trying to comprehend it.
And the one thing I love about this is, like, we're all so different that, like, we agree to disagree, you know?
Well, and we get to introduce each other to movies that we really haven't seen before.
Like our lost episode of Heavyweights.
God, I was skeptical of watching that movie, but I had to like. It's weird. Like, I want to watch. We decide to watch movies that like we want to watch for these episodes, and sometimes it feels like we've played it safe of like doing episodes that like we know that we would both agree on. Because like when you recommended Heavyweights,
You never watched it.
I've never watched it. I wasn't interested in it. I didn't want to watch it, and I had to own myself of like the purpose of this podcast is to stretch ourselves a little bit too, and to see things that we may not seen before. And that was a fun movie.
Yeah.
And
Not gonna lie, I might watch that later tonight. Lars. Oh no, it's me, Lars.
but like,
Oh.
is there like have there been a movie that you haven't seen before that we've watched so far
Let me check everything we've recorded.
besides Aruna's Magic?
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm pretty sure there has been. I mean, I also didn't see the live action Lady and the Tramp. Oh yeah, there's YouTube.
That is
I'm-
live action Lady in the Tram.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry, friends. I'm getting a little sleepy apparently. I've
To be fair, it is like 9:30.
been up since like 4 a.m.
I feel you.
Yeah, it's just been a weirdly busy day. Okay, let's check out our videos. I mean, I recommended Candace Against the Universe just because I felt like watching it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but that's a good movie.
Yeah. I was not a fan of National Treasure.
And Ice Princess I've never seen, really.
Yeah.
Have no memory of. The Big Year.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, The Big Year.
We both didn't like never had watched the movie where because like we just finished an episode and then we're like, all right, what do we watch for the next episode? And then
scrolling on the movies on Disney Plus, and we were like, "What's The Big Year?" And it was just a bird watching movie, so we're like, "Let's do that."
I guess. Oh,
Hercules.
yeah, I'd never seen Hercules
Wow,
before.
second episode,
Yeah.
but I don't know. This podcast has just been so much fun, and I'm excited to see how we get to continue to grow. I mean, you look at our first episodes, like
We've had a big change of like our presentation.
Yeah, I mean, like our first episode was one in that conference room. We attempted to have snacks for like every episode.
Yeah, and then now we realize like the snacks but those snacks in the first one, I would not be upset if we ever made those again. Those were good.
I did well on those.
Yes, you did.
And then like we at one point we were trying to talk through movies and it just wasn't working well. We were trying to find our flow. I mean, you're sticking us on camera for the first time. We were awkward as hell.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I was gonna pitch you another one here shortly.
Oh.
Our talking style. Because
we can talk about this after.
okay.
But like, you know, like it's just been fun to see how we get more comfortable talking in front of a camera because we don't know who else is there. We're staring into a black void.
Like literally, you are the present. You are in the present, but to us, you are the future because you're not watching this until like a few more days after we've already recorded.
Like a couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's been really fun seeing how we get to evolve both ourselves on the podcast, but the podcast itself.
I will say one thing that I think we could all work on, but it's still one of those weird, awkward things. And I think it's just because of how early we are in recording, looking at the actual camera.
There is something to be said about looking at the camera, but also,
you're making direct I'm making eye contact with you. You see that, buddy? I'm making eye contact with you in the future. Haha. Got you.
But the also important thing is like it's like we're having a conversation. That is also the other.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and I mean we'll talk about this more later. especially with what you were mentioning, you know, about potentially a house and then having a podcast room, because like normally other podcasts have different layouts that, because right now we're just kind of working with what we have.
Yeah, quite literally, it is working with what we have.
Yeah.
And like when Megan's here, I'm like right here on a stool sitting above. We don't.
We're in the wine cellar of their apartment.
Yeah, and so like it's really like a makeshift dealio.
And the reason why we went to the wine cellar is because the
conference room being used
there was a D&D game going on, and then I was just like, dude, there's a couch in the wine cellar, we could go there.
There's a couch, it like is a lot cooler, less people, and there's no windows for people to just spy in almost.
That was another weird thing, like because like in the conference room, people on the main floor of the apartment could like just
stare at us.
It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, but like it's been really fun seeing like our videos grow. Like we used to just have our same camera, but on my old computer, and that was it.
Yeah.
We didn't have mics. We didn't have lights. We didn't have a soundboard.
Speaking of which, did you return that other ring light?
Don't remember.
The broken one.
I don't remember. I really don't remember. I've been working.
Oh God. This is how busy we are. We forget minor things.
But like it's been a lot of fun because like if you were to watch our first episode, I'm gonna say it's a little bit of a crappy episode.
Yeah.
Like I would remember like I had a sheet of notes that I was like, I love this part of the movie. I love this part of the movie.
Yeah, because I mean I brought it as an idea of just like we should take notes, and then that way we have stuff to reference to so we can talk about it, because then like, and then that just kind of scrapped the idea, because then that just made it seem like schoolwork, and that's no fun.
Oh yeah, like I became more focused on like writing and then enjoying the movie.
Yeah, and then of course snacks is always a good idea, but then it comes down to like I don't have time to make the snacks.
That and like with the mic setup, it's like we don't want to get
food,
the sound of us chewing on the mic. Like,
unless you like the ASMR.
No. But no, like it's been like we're not even at a full year yet, but seeing how this has grown, how we've grown, and how it's been so much fun. And like how our unintentionally we've been sticking to why we made this podcast and being able to just create a space where we can enjoy the things we love and to talk about tough conversations like we've had, like our lost episode of Hannah Montana.
Oh,
that was a good episode.
That was a good episode. Honestly, it was more heartfelt than I feel like than what we were talking about here sometimes. Like right now.
Yeah, it was. And it was, but we still had the conversations, you know? Like those hard conversations and deep conversations, like how like our like Narnia. That was like our first good episode, just us.
I know. And bless the Lord for whatever spiel I was going on that day.
Is that because it's a Narnia movie and it's based off of Christian theology?
A little bit, but
you get the
yeah, I know. Yeah. That's why I was like a little bit.
No. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything more we can really
talk about other than it.
Like we could talk in circles about like why we love Disney, why we love the podcast, why we made the podcast.
But we felt that Friends of Disney was really inclusive of our mission and who we are.
It is, because
we felt like it was the most explanatory thing without having to explain.
Because you're a friend.
You're a friend.
You're a friend.
You're a friend.
We're all friends.
You're a friend. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Hey, friend. You know who you are? Friend of Disney.
We're all friends of Disney. And we're just going to leave it at that.
But join us for our next episode of...
Yeah, our next episodes, we're going down. It's Halloween time. We are hitting on all 4 Halloween Town movies.
So be prepared. And the lucky winner of the giveaway, congratulations. I don't know who it is yet, but congratulations.
Yeah, it would already been announced by now.
Yeah, I was like, present me here doesn't know, but future person, whoever's watching,
congrats.
Congrats. Check out our Instagram.
But yeah, check out our next week's episode as we start going through a Halloween Town series, because it's Halloween time, spooky season, my friends.
We gotta figure out stuff for Christmas.
It's Halloween first, Jonelle. But anyways, goodbye, friends.
We got some ABBA to sing, so
yep, and
we'll see you next time.
Yep, bye.
Bye.